Chapter 352. The explanation given in the original novel was that she didn't know how to help Luo Weibing and was so anxious that her eyes turned red. The media mistakenly thought that she had been harassed by Luo Weibing like those actresses, so her eyes turned red as soon as she heard his name. Her fans also followed up with a bunch of photos and videos of her and Luo Weibing appearing in public and edited them to prove that she was a forced victim. When this report came out, not only was Wen Jinping not affected by Luo Weibing's negative news, but she also earned a wave of sympathy from passersby. Were the facts really as written in the original novel? All of this was Wen Jinping's good intentions and bad things? Did she have no idea what Hua Xiaofeng did? Not necessarily. It was human nature not to publicly support Luo Weibing on the internet, but if the media deliberately distorted the facts and treated her as a victim. Wen Jinping couldn't restrain the attention of the media, but she could at least restrain her own fans, right? The fans were so organized to declare that she was a victim, so there must be a lot of people behind the scenes. Poor Luo Weibing was used and sucked dry. He was stepped on and became a stepping stone for others. Even his sister was suddenly unemployed because of him and even violated many advertising contracts. He owed a lot of money, so she couldn't continue her treatment and died not long after. Just because of a moment of kindness, his career was ruined, his reputation was ruined, and his only sister was dead. If he wasn't a fool, what was he? Yayan? Xia Juanxing's low voice successfully pulled Su Yiyan's attention back. He chose our company. Is it related to his sister? I heard from Ning Chirue's agent that Luo Weibing contacted him after seeing Ning Chirue's physical test reports. He said that he wanted to visit Ning Chirue in person. After Ning Chirue knew about it, he agreed to visit him. After seeing Ning Chirue with his own eyes and confirming that what he posted online was true, he asked him to introduce him to his attending doctor. Attending doctor? Su Yiyan laughed. When did she become Ning Chirue's attending doctor? During this period, although she went to poke him once every few days, the Ning family specially hired another family doctor to help with the follow-up care and recovery work. The fact that Ning Chirue could eat as much as he did now was not all thanks to her alone. Luo Weibing seems to have shown Ning Chirue's medical records to other doctors. They all said that it was a miracle that he could recover so quickly. So he thinks that the person who can cure Ning Chirue must have some skills. Yeah, what did Ning Chirue say to him? He said, Xia Junsheng rubbed his nose and found it a little funny. He said that this is a special benefit for employees of the company and that he can't reveal it to outsiders. Su Yiyan was silent for a while before she asked faintly, Don't you think that the employees nowadays are very greedy? Xia Junsheng looked at her blankly. He didn't quite understand what she meant. As a boss, not only do I have to care about their future career, but I also have to be responsible for their health. Do you think it's easy for me? Xia Junsheng coughed. Xia Junsheng suppressed the unconsciously raised corners of his mouth and asked in a low voice, Then Luo Weibing, let's arrange a time for a meeting. If he's really a talent, it's okay to take him in. She always had some subtle sympathy for those who were miserably harmed by Wen Jinping, especially the innocent child who was still so young. Chapter 353. Yi Chiliang quickly sent a message back. For the time being, Su Yiyan would be teaching them on Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons. Now that the schedule was settled, the only problem left was the remuneration. Even if the teachers were interns, they would still receive a salary or even a subsidy. For someone like Su Yiyan, who was specially invited, she could not be treated as a temporary teacher. Yi Chiliang even felt that even if he paid Su Yiyan based on his standards, it would not be worth 1/1,000,000th of the knowledge she would teach the students. Su Yiyan seemed to see his dilemma, so she took the initiative to say, in terms of remuneration, you can just compare it to the substitute teachers in your school. How can that be? There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not a serious teacher, and I don't plan to be a teacher for a long time. When Yi Chiliang asked her if teachers like him could also sit in on the class, Su Yiyan thought about it. After all, she was not a serious teacher. She definitely did not have the experience of teaching and educating people. After she taught this group of people, they would be able to personally teach the basic knowledge to others. Moreover, you've already helped me a lot by helping me get that special medical license. Su Yin's medical practice was different from other medical systems. She could not get a normal medical license. It was Yi Qiliang who used his connections to help her get a special medical license. Yi Qiliang still felt a little guilty when he heard her say that. Su Yin also noticed this and smiled faintly. You don't have to feel burdened. I agreed to teach these things because if these things are really in my hands and I can't teach them to others, they will be lost again in 100 years, just like many things before. It's a good thing that people are willing to learn, but what they learn in the end depends on them. Of course. By the way, I have to accompany my husband home this week. This class will start next week. It just so happens that you have time to make arrangements for the students. Okay. Su Yin had said in advance that she would be bringing Hua Qinhuan home, so the whole family woke up early in the morning to wait. Cheng Xiuqin had been pacing around the kitchen door since early in the morning. Together with Qin Shuuru, he watched Aunt Li cook Su Yin's favorite dishes. Mr. Su looked at his wife, who was standing at the entrance of the kitchen, and frowned. So what if she's back? Isn't it natural for her to go back to her own home? With such a big fuss, the people outside might think that she won't come back after getting married. Su Yuxuan also chimed in sourly. That's right. You should have just said it. Why are you still blocking the door? You can't even help. Aren't you just adding to the trouble? As soon as he finished speaking, Chang Xiuqin looked over and snorted coldly. Don't think that I didn't hear you. Who was the one who said that I was so excited that I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night and almost fell down the stairs when I woke up to go to the bathroom? Cough, cough, cough. Su Yuxuan coughed guiltily and turned his face away. Mr. Su instantly looked at him with disdain. This kid was still too inexperienced. How could he drop the ball at such a crucial time? Cheng Xiuqin sneered when he saw this. What are you looking at? You're the same. You're holding the newspaper upside down. Do you think that I'm short-sighted and can't tell? Mr. Su, who had been silently looking down. Chapter 354. The Su family was busy preparing for the arrival of Su Yin and the new son-in-law. Hua Qinhuan, on the other hand, was inexplicably nervous after getting out of the car. What's wrong? Su Yin held Hua Qinhuan's hand, feeling the sweat on her palm. He couldn't help but be surprised. Nervous? Yes. It's not the first time you've seen them. Why are you still so nervous? I didn't see you this nervous when we came here before. It's different. Su Yin raised his eyebrows. How is it different? Previously, he was just my fiancé. Now, he's my husband. With a different identity, her state of mind was naturally different when facing these people. Then you don't have to be nervous. We're a real family now. They won't make things difficult for you. Su Yin could actually understand Hua Qinhuan's feelings. Before they got married, her family wasn't technically his family. Now that they were married, her family was Hua Qinhuan's family. After her parents passed away, Hua Qinhuan actually didn't have a real family anymore. To have a family again, and a family of elders at that, Hua Qinhuan needed a buffer. With me and Dun Dun here, we'll protect you. As Su Yin spoke, he picked up Dun Dun, who had just gotten out of the car and was about to rush home, and stuffed it into Hua Qinhuan's arms. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard by the back of its neck, was confused. What are you doing? You can talk about things, but you can't throw me around like an object. I have a temper too. Su Yin's comforting seemed to have some effect. Hua Qinhuan seemed to have calmed down a lot. Of course, it was only on the surface. The two people and the dog had just walked into the courtyard. Cheng Xiuqin's people, who saw them from afar, all fell silent. The atmosphere in the room suddenly became subtle. Even Dun Dun, who was in Hua Qinhuan's arms, subconsciously widened his eyes filled with confusion. In the end, Su Yin was the first to break the silence. She said helplessly, "Dad, Mom, why are you standing there like idiots? I've only been away for a few days, and you can't recognize me?" Only then did they wake up from their dream. Cheng Xiuqin snorted coldly. "I think you're the one who forgot about us. You've been married for so long, but you don't even know to call home and go home to take a look. You really forget your mother when you have a husband." Mr. Su hurriedly chimed in. She also forgot about Dad. Su Yiyin, Chang Xiuqin. Su Yiyin was stunned for a moment. She took the initiative to step forward and intimately held Chang Xiuqin's hand. She couldn't help but laugh. I've been too busy recently, haven't I? Busy? What busy? You. Chang Xiuqin suddenly remembered that Su Yiyin still had a company and a restaurant. He suddenly felt a little distressed. If I had known that you wanted to open a restaurant, I wouldn't have given you that entertainment company. How can you not be busy now that you've been running back and forth between the two places? Look, you've lost so much weight in just a few days. Before Su Yiyin could say anything, Hua Qinhuan followed up and said, "It's my fault. I didn't take good care of her." Hua Qinhuan's straightforward apology made Chang Xiuqin choke. Su Yiyin was worried that the atmosphere would become cold again. She hurriedly said, "Actually, it's not that bad. I was busy before because the restaurant had just opened, and everything wasn't on the right track. I also just took over the company, so it was inevitable that there were more things to do. Now that most of these problems have been solved, and the new restaurant is gradually getting on the right track, I don't need to be there to help anymore. It saved me a lot of trouble, and I'm not as busy as before." Chapter 355. It's good that you know what you're doing. Dad and Mom don't expect you to have a big career or earn a lot of money. We just want you to be safe and happy. Don't tire yourself out. Our two families can't afford to raise you alone, right? Chang Xiuqin originally wanted to say our family, but when he thought about how Su Yiyin was already married and could be considered part of the family Hua, he changed it to two families. I know. Su Yiyin immediately noticed the pause and complained with a smile. He said it, and you said it too. I've been hearing these words for the past few days. When he heard Su Yiyin say that Hua Qinhuan also cared about her health and didn't want her to be too tired, Chang Xiuqin's expression became much better. He snorted coldly and said, "You're not happy that we care about you? We've spoiled you too much." All right. Yin Yin specially brought Qinhuan over for dinner. We'll talk about these things later. Let's eat first. Qin Shiru saw that they were almost done talking, so she quickly went up to smooth things over. When Su Yiyin heard her speak, she quickly went over and said with a smile, "Auntie, how have you been feeling recently? Have you eaten the medicinal cuisine? I asked the medicinal cuisine restaurant to send you on time." The baby in Qin Shiru's stomach was already more than 3 months old. Her stomach wasn't very obvious yet, but there were obvious symptoms of morning sickness. Qin Shiru held Su Yiyin's hand and smiled slightly. Yes. A few days ago, my stomach was very nauseous. Thanks to the medicinal cuisine your restaurant sent over, I was able to eat some of it. I'm much better now." Qin Shiru pulled Su Yiyin to sit at the dining table. Father Su and the others also sat down. Chang Xiuqin took the opportunity to run into the small kitchen and urged them to serve the dishes that were prepared first. Hua Qinhuan looked at Su Yiyin's harmonious appearance with her family and smiled slightly. She also turned her wheelchair and sat beside her. Although Su Yiyin wasn't at home during this period, she sent them a lot of rare ingredients one after another. Aunt Li learned from Su Yiyin for a while in the early days. Later, she found Su Yiyin's live broadcast room to practice a few times. Although the dishes weren't as good as Su Yiyin's, they were much better than before. As a result, the Su and the others would come home on time to eat unless they really had something urgent and had to work. Considering that there were more people at home today, Aunt Li not only made a lot of dishes, but also a lot of different flavors. However, most of them were pickled vegetables and spicy dishes. Su Yiyin was sitting next to Qin Shiru. She could not help but laugh when she saw Qin Shiru's chopsticks reaching for the sour dishes. People say that sour children are born, while spicy daughters are born. Annie's baby is most likely going to be a chubby boy. Chang Xiuqin heard her and laughed. I think so too. Xiaoru likes to eat sour food recently. It must be a fat boy. Qin Shiru blushed slightly and smiled. She didn't say anything. Did Annie and Uncle discuss whether you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shiru was a little embarrassed. She smiled and said, Your uncle said that a boy or a girl is good. What about you? Do you like a boy or a girl? Qin Shiru was silent for a moment and said softly, I also think that a boy or a girl isn't important. It's good either way. For her, who might not have a child of her own in this lifetime. Having this child was already a great blessing. Why would she care about the boy or girl? Thinking of this, Qin Shiuru turned to look at Su Yiyin and smiled faintly. But if I really have to choose one, I might want a daughter as obedient and sensible as Yin Yin. Chapter 356. When Qin Shiuru said this, everyone present was stunned. Unexpectedly, the first to break the silence was Su Yuanyuan's father. He raised his head and looked at his son, then looked at his precious daughter. He nodded solemnly and said, "Yes, girls are good." Su Yuxuan, who was shot even though he was lying down. "Wait, if you want to talk about your daughter, then talk about your daughter. Why are you looking at me? Don't think I didn't see the disdain in your eyes." When Cheng Xiuqin heard Su Yuxuan's father's words, he also nodded and said, "Girls are better. You can give her pretty dresses, braid her hair, and take her shopping." Cheng Xiuqin sighed and changed his tone. Yin Yin has always been a considerate little girl. She's obedient and sensible. Her father and I never worry about her. She's not like a certain bastard. He was born like a frisky monkey, crying all day long. He was only 5 or 6 years old, but he was already jumping up and down, causing trouble for me everywhere. His father and I were so angry that we wanted to kick him out of the house a few times. I'd rather have a wooden club than him. The drumstick that Su Yuxuan picked up with great difficulty, he fell into his bowl with a plop sound. He looked like he had nothing to live for. As expected, he was adopted, although he was a little annoying when he was young. Wasn't that because he was young and immature? Who didn't have a Chinibu period? It was too much to bring up old scores. Su Yiyin was amused by her brother's hopeless expression. Suddenly, her hand was held. She was stunned. She turned her head and met Hua Qinhuan's smiling eyes. Su Yiyin's lips curled up. She couldn't be bothered to laugh at her brother anymore. She picked up the serving chopsticks and put some food in Hua Qinhuan's bowl. "Aunt Li's cooking is pretty good. She made a lot of your favorite spicy dishes today. Eat more." "Okay." Su Yiyin's words seemed to have accidentally poked Su Yuxuan and the other sore spot. Their expressions instantly changed, and they said awkwardly, "It's not specially made for you. We'll like it too." His words sounded like he was trying to hide 300 tails. Hua Qinhuan originally thought that Su Yiyin's words were just to comfort her. Now that she heard Su Yuxuan's words, she was a little uncertain. Could it be that these dishes were specially made for him? The atmosphere at the table suddenly became subtle. Cheng Xiuqin was not as awkward as the father and son. He coughed lightly and took the initiative to pick up a crayfish for Hua Qinhuan. "Now that you're married to Yin Yin, our home is your home. Don't be too restrained and eat more." Hua Qinhuan looked at the prawns in her bowl and suddenly understood the meaning of Su Yiyin's words before entering the house. In fact, he was not the only one. Cheng Xiuqin and the others were also trying their best to adapt to the addition of another family member. They might be arrogant and clumsy, but they were really trying to accept him and care for him in their unique way. With this thought, Hua Qinhuan picked up the crayfish with her chopsticks. Her eyes were filled with gentleness and warmth. "Father Su, my wife is putting food in my son-in-law's bowl, but she's not putting food in my bowl. Su Yuxuan, even the latecomer has people putting food in his bowl, but no one cares about me. Who is her biological son?" Su Yiyin saw the dissatisfaction in the two's eyes. Her eyebrows slightly curved, and she hurriedly put some food in each of their bowls. "Dad, brother, you guys should eat more too." The father and son were stunned. They looked at the food in their bowls and instantly beamed with joy. They happily ate the food. How could they still remember their dissatisfaction from being ignored? Chapter 357. Cheng Xiuqin looked at the father and son who were bought over by a few chopsticks of food. He was angry and amused at the same time. He cursed in his heart, "Useless." During the meal, other than the occasional fight for favor, there was no other trouble. Moreover, because Hua Qinhuan deliberately avoided her, she became the most favored person at the dinner table. As a result, the other two men who were frequently ignored were full of resentment. However, it was also because of this that the subtle estrangement between them and Hua Qinhuan dissipated a lot. Hua Chenhuan quite liked the atmosphere in the Su family. There was a sense of liveliness amidst the noise, unlike the family Hua, which was lifeless. Even eating a meal felt like torture. After lunch, the elders impatiently pulled the two of them aside and questioned them in detail about their married life. Hua Chenhuan cooperated and said whatever was on her mind. Su Yiyin was a little embarrassed. She gulped down water and did not say anything. She only nodded and shook her head when asked. After enduring the elders' bombardment with great difficulty, Su Yiyin hurriedly took Hua Chenhuan and wanted to escape. However, she was stopped by Qin Shiru. Yin, the baby is already more than 3 months old. You want to go back? Qin Shiru nodded. Cheng Juanhao and old Master Cheng had asked her to stay when they went back. On one hand, they were worried that it was not safe for her to run around when she was just pregnant. On the other hand, there were some things in the Cheng family that had not been resolved. It was not peaceful. She was afraid that she would not be able to take care of the baby if she went back. On the other hand, they hoped that she would stay. Su Yiyin could help her recuperate more so that she would suffer less when she gave birth to the baby. Now that the Cheng family had basically stabilized, her baby was already more than 3 months old. The checkup showed that everything was fine. Although everyone in the Su family treated her well, it was not her own family. Moreover, the person she missed the most was not here. Qin Shiru could not help but feel a little. Su Yiyin naturally understood this. Other than wanting to see her family, she also wanted to see how Qin Shiru was doing. Since there were no problems, she could indeed go back. After all, they were not what she needed the most at this time. Okay, I've seen the test report. The baby is fine. There's nothing wrong with your body. If you want to go back, tell Uncle first and let him arrange for someone to pick you up. Qin Shiru heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, she had a kind of blind trust in Su Yiyin. Even if she had gone through a checkup, she still wanted to get Su Yiyin's approval before she could be completely at ease. Rest well. In a few months, we'll visit you together. By then, Hua Chenhuan would probably be able to stand up. Yes. Chapter 358. What? Su Yiyin's eyes widened. She didn't know how to react. Some of the companies that were transferred to you before were profitable and had dividends. Now that Hua Chenhuan mentioned it, Su Yiyin remembered that Hua Chenhuan had transferred many companies to her when they got married. Su Yiyin didn't pay much attention to it at the time, but she didn't expect. But this is too much, isn't it? Although the Su family wasn't as big as the family Hua, they were still considered a wealthy family. Although her brother and father were in charge of her family's companies, they had never given her less dividends. Su Yiyin thought that her family had given her enough dividends, but now that she saw the amount that Hua Chenhuan handed in, she realized that it paled in comparison. What do those companies of yours do? How did you? Su Yiyin lowered her head and looked at the long string of zeros. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that this amount was enough to buy a company or a shopping mall. Didn't you notice it before? Su Yiyin's mouth twitched. She thought to herself, at that time, I didn't think that what's yours is mine and what's mine is yours. There's no difference, so there's no need to make such a clear distinction. She didn't pay much attention to it, but who would have thought? Most of the companies on the market are managed by Xiao Yang and the others, but they're in charge of different things. Xian is in charge of the development of virtual simulators. Virtual simulators? Why did this term sound so familiar? Let me give you a simple example. The smell and taste simulators used by online streamers were developed by their company. Su Yiyin was shocked when she heard that. Those things were developed by your company. It's your company now, Hua Chenhuan corrected her and continued. In addition, there are other similar simulators. These simulators have been used on various websites, and each website has to pay you a patent fee every month. Su Yiyin's face stiffened. So, this is the patent fee? The patent fee and a portion of the revenue. Hua Chenhuan thought for a moment and added, there should be more next month. More? Su Yiyin almost choked on his own breath. This was already more than enough. How much more could he get next month? Is there a special project next month? You just said that Xian is in charge of the virtual simulator development. then Xiao Yang and Yin Bai. Xiao Yang is responsible for the development of holographic games. A holographic game? Su Yin narrowed her eyes. Is it the holographic game that I'm thinking of? Although she was not a fan of games, she had seen some sci-fi games and sci-fi movies. Naturally, she knew the difference between this so-called holographic game and ordinary games. That should be right. Then you just said that there will be more next month. Could it be? Hua Chenwan didn't hide anything. The technology for the holographic game has matured. After internal testing this month, it will be officially released at the beginning of next month. First, there were all kinds of virtual simulators, and then there were holographic games. What kind of godly husband did she marry? As if this wasn't exciting enough, Hua Chenhuan's eyelashes trembled slightly. He whispered, "This holographic game will be named after both of our names. The company is now under your name, and all future revenue will be handed over to you." Su Yin was a little dizzy from this huge pie. Ah, exciting. Chapter 359. What are our names? Su Yin finally woke up from the trance of getting rich overnight and asked, who came up with it? Hua Chenwan's expression was a little subtle. He turned his face and said, Xiaoyang's suggestion. Su Yin glanced at him suspiciously. She felt that this matter was not so simple. Moreover, even if it was really Gu Xiaoyang's suggestion, how could the final name of the game be decided so hastily without the approval of the boss? Thinking of this, Su Yin couldn't help but have a little more sweetness and banter in her eyes. Hua Chenwan's ears were burning red. Are you interested in this game? Su Yin nodded. Quite interested. When the game is tested, I'll ask them to send 2 over for you to play. 2? Do you want to play with me? Hua Chenhuan was silent. Su Yin rolled her eyes and smiled slightly. If you play with me, I'll play. Otherwise, it's boring to play alone. Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yin for a while and compromised. Okay. Su Yin smiled like a flower. Then, she seemed to think of something and asked curiously, you just said that the 3 of them are responsible for different projects. Xiaoyang and Zian have already said that. What about Yin Bai? What is he responsible for? He's responsible for robots. Su Yin's eyes lit up. Robots? Are they those intelligent robots? What are their main functions? Can they play with children and do housework? Yes, bionic robots. They can basically do everything that humans can do. Some things that humans can't do, they can also do. Yinbai's main direction of development is protective robots. Protective robots? Yes, robots that can protect their owners. Su Yin was stunned. She subconsciously glanced at Hua Chenhuan. This robot that could protect its owner, could the original intention of the design be related to him? Hua Chenhuan didn't notice her strangeness and explained, this function is still under development. It's not mature yet. Yinbai has a few of the robots with basic functions you just mentioned. If you're interested, you can ask him to send 1 over to play. Su Yin's eyes lit up slightly, but she was somewhat worried. That's not good, is it? Although it was a semi-finished robot, it was a trade secret. Was it really okay to take it home to play? As if seeing Su Yin's in her mind, Hua Chenhuan touched her head and comforted her. It's okay. This kind of technology is very basic. Yinbai and the habit of locking the core technology during their research. If someone outside of the research lab's people trying to decipher or dismantle it violently, it'll the internal chip self-destructing the internal chip self-destructing it. Su Yin was a little surprised and curious. She looked at Hua Chenhuan like a puppy asking its owner for a bone. Hua Chenhuan couldn't resist her attack and said helplessly, I'll ask him to send the robot over tomorrow. Su Yin cheered. She felt that she was really the happiest person in the world. Not only was her husband rich, but he was also capable. Not only could he afford to raise her, but he could also let her try out all kinds of novel toys. These were all rare things that couldn't be bought with money. Most importantly, as a big boss with high-tech technology in his hands, her husband was completely different from those programmers. He wasn't bald. The programmers who were bald for their careers. Chapter 360. Su Yin was excited all the way, but she only calmed down a little when she returned to the old house. She glanced at Hua Chenhuan's thick hair and felt that she needed to take precautions. Hua Chenhuan. Therefore, the bald fans in the live broadcast room, who had been observing for a long time, finally saw the light. I went out with my husband today, so I came back a little late. Without further ado, let's talk about the medicinal cuisine we're going to make tonight. The medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is mainly for hair growth and hair loss prevention. We did this once before during the live broadcast. However, we only made one dish, show a liver slice. Many comments in the live broadcast room said that although it was effective, it was inevitably a little monotonous after eating too much. Moreover, different conditions lead to hair loss, so eating only show liver slice is not necessarily the right way to treat the hair loss. Su Yiyin paused and coughed lightly. It just so happens that my husband has been staying up late recently to earn money to support the family. I'm also a little worried about his hairline. Therefore, today we're going to make a special live broadcast of hair growth and hair loss prevention. It's convenient for me, and it's also satisfying the wishes of the bald fans who stay up late. It's killing two birds with one stone. Hua Chenhuan, who had just entered the live broadcast room when she found that her hairline had been mentioned, nearly one-third of the bald fans in the live broadcast room, rows of ellipses quickly brushed across the screen, showing how speechless everyone was. A few seconds later, someone finally broke the awkward silence and started to cry and wail. Oh my God, when I heard that the host was going to start broadcasting, I rushed over as fast as I could, afraid that I would miss the beginning. Who would have thought that I would be forced to eat dog food in front of me? The host successfully suppressed my emotions. I seriously suspect that the last reason is the main point, and us poor single farmers are just incidental. Okay, if it's not incidental, then is it specially made for you? Wake up. The host's exceptions are only made for her husband. Damn it, I also want a virtuous wife. Single dogs are crying tears of jealousy. Seeing that the host is going to broadcast hair growth and hair loss prevention medicinal cuisine, the bald fans burst into tears on the spot, thinking that spring has arrived for the bald fans. But when I read the second half of the sentence, I forced my tears back. All right, after all this time, it's not the balding gang's spring, but the streamer's spring. Is the host's husband also a programmer? I can't afford to offend the baldies who work late into the night every day. Sob, sob, sob. The host's husband is working hard to earn money to support the family. The host is working hard to live stream to support her husband. I'm jealous. It's another day of crying for someone else's love. Su Yiyin did not pay attention to the wailing of the actors. First, he took out medicinal herbs such as Gastrodia alata, Poria cocos, and chuanxiong, and soaked them in water. Then, he cracked the bones of the lamb, dipped the mutton in water, and fished it out for later use. There are two types of hair loss. One is that the hair is dry and falls off in patches. The other is that the hair is oily and the hair follicles fall off. In addition, there are also some early white hair phenomena, which is commonly known as young white hair. In fact, it is also related to the lack of nutrition in the hair. The first medicinal cuisine we're going to make today is black chicken soup with Chinese yam and cooked ground. It mainly uses Chinese yam, cooked ground, plantain seed, poria, and other medicinal herbs, as well as black chicken legs. This soup has the effect of curing hair loss, nourishing the kidney, and nourishing the blood. It also has a very significant effect on the first condition mentioned just now. Chapter 361. As Su Yiyin spoke, she dipped the black chicken leg in water and put it into the casserole pot. Then, she added a pile of medicinal herbs and boiled them with water before lowering the heat to a simmer. Taking advantage of this gap, she grabbed a prepared carp. After cutting it a few times, she stuffed the previously soaked fulling and chuanxiong into the belly of the fish. The fish I'm making now is called Gastrodia alata carp. The medicinal herb Gastrodia alata needs to be soaked for a few hours in advance to completely soften it. After that, it needs to be steamed before it can be used. Otherwise, there is no way to integrate the medicinal properties into the fish. As Su Yiyin spoke, she put the Gastrodia alata on the drawer to steam. Today, she opened the live broadcast book on a whim. She didn't have time to gather the ingredients immediately. Fortunately, the medicinal herbs planted on the farm could be in a dry or wet state before harvesting. When she took out the Gastrodia elata, it was already in a wet state, which saved her a lot of trouble. After the Gastrodia elata was cooked, Suyin stuffed it into the knife and the belly of the fish. Then, she steamed it with scallions and ginger on the drawer. The third dish is lamb bone porridge. The cooking method is relatively simple. I'll just dip the lamb and lamb bones in water. Just cut them and put them in. The main point is this medicine bag. Suyin took out a small medicine bag and put it in front of the camera so that the audience could see it. This medicine bag contains cooked ground, Chinese yam, dodder, walnut kernel, and more than a dozen other medicinal herbs. The ingredients are relatively complex. The dosage is also prepared in advance, considering that everyone might not be familiar with these things and that it would be troublesome to make them yourself. I will ask the people in the restaurant to help me make them and pack them up. If you want to bring them back, you can buy them from the restaurant when the time comes. In addition, after today's live broadcast, I will draw a few lucky audience members to give it away. When the audience in the live broadcast room heard that there were more than a dozen medicinal herbs in the small bag, many of them who were not in the same city as Su Yiyin, who originally wanted to steal it and get someone to buy it back to try it for themselves, could not help but want to retreat. Then, they heard that Su Yiyin would make these small bags and sell them directly. She would also draw a lottery to give them away. In an instant, they became spirited again. Host, please take care of me. I pray that you will draw me. Immortal host, as long as I buy this small bag, I can try to cook porridge myself. I'll buy it tomorrow. I hope it's not too expensive. The price of a streamer shop is very reasonable. What you should be worried about is not the price, but whether there will be too many people fighting for it tomorrow. When Su Yiyin saw their messages, he smiled and threw the medicine packets into the pot to boil the soup. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about the price. It's still the same as before. We'll strive to make it affordable for most people." Su Yiyin could not guarantee that everyone could afford it, but it was still possible for most people to try it once in a while. The essence of the lamb bones needed to be stewed for a period of time before it could flow into the soup. Su Yiyin took advantage of this time to boil an egg with the Chinese knotweed. Then, she made a dessert, sesame kelp cake. The white sesame seed contains many nutrients that the human body needs. It can prevent our hair from turning white and falling off prematurely. Su Yiyin put the clean and dry white sesame seeds into the pot and stir-fried them until they were fragrant. Then, she ground them in a powder and added them together with the kelp powder into the starch to make a dough and steamed it in the pot. At this time, the lamb bone soup was almost done. She fished out the small bag of medicine and added the washed rice into the pot. Then, she stir-fried a large spoonful of seasoning oil and poured it over the steamed carp. Not to mention that there were always some of them who were not in a city. Just the number of guests that the restaurant received every day was already enough to make a bunch of people die. However, no matter how much they complained, Su Yiyin couldn't do anything about it. This was already the limit of the carnival hall. Any more, and everyone would be overworked, and the loss would outweigh the gain. After that, Su Yiyin briefly introduced the corresponding hair loss symptoms of several dishes. She divided some of the dishes into a lucky draw and gave them away. Then, she left the small kitchen and ran to call Hua Chenhuan to eat. Hua Chenhuan turned her wheelchair out of the room. Seeing the table full of delicious dishes, she should have had a big appetite. But when she thought that the dishes on the table were all for her hairline, Hua Chenhuan couldn't help but twitch the corners of her eyes and feel complicated. Chapter 363. Hua Jinyao, who felt that his hairline was still very solid, finished the meal with a subtle expression on his face. Little did he know that this meal, which he was extremely resistant to, was a supreme honor in the eyes of some people. He didn't know how lucky he was. That night, Hua Chenhuan called the Yinbai first and asked him to send a small robot to her house early the next morning. It didn't have many functions, as long as it could help relieve boredom. So Yinbai was not stupid. He immediately guessed that this robot was for young mistress. While he agreed, He said thoughtfully, "Young master, many people in the company watch young mistress's live stream today." Hua Qinhuan's face darkened. He recalled that Su Yiyin had explicitly said that she was worried about his hairline in the live stream. Now, he was afraid that everyone in his company would think that his hairline was in danger. Zui Yinbai had no idea that his young master's focus was a little off. He didn't understand his young master's hint at all. When he saw that Hua Jinyao didn't say anything, he had no choice but to bite the bullet and continue. After watching the live stream, many people in the company hope that young mistress can save their poor hair. Hua Qinhuan narrowed her eyes. If they want to eat it, they can order it from a medicinal cuisine restaurant. The corners of Zui Yinbai's eyes twitched slightly. I told them the same thing, but they said that young mistress's medicinal cuisine restaurant is already half a year away. If they really wait until then, I'm afraid that nearly half of the people in the company will have become bald. Although this sounded a little funny, it wasn't impossible. In order to research and develop the protective robot, they would probably have to continue working overtime for the next 6 months or even a year. Although this kind of research and development paid high salaries and gave a high sense of accomplishment, it wasn't an exaggeration to say that these achievements were exchanged for their thin hair and receding hairlines. If they had a choice, who would want to be bald? Who would want to be bald? Hua Qinhuan followed Zui Yinbai's words and tried to imagine a scene where nearly half of the people in the company were light bulbs. Seeing that Hua Qinhuan was silent again, Zui Yinbai was a little distressed. I heard that the employees in young mistress's restaurant have the benefit of tasting the medicinal cuisine for free. Because of this, many people in the company have already thought of quitting and applying for a job at young mistress's restaurant. Hua Jinyao was speechless. You're a high-tech intellectual who's coding. Why are you applying for a job at my wife's restaurant? Do errands, young mistresses, Zui Yinbai. Young mistress, Zui Yinbai's words. Following Yu Zian's example of praising Su Yiyin, Zui Yinbai said, "Young master and young mistress are a family. Husband and wife are one." Now that all of our companies are under young mistress's name, they can be considered as young mistress's companies. Hua Qinhuan was speechless. Although he had planned to give his companies to Su Yiyin as a betrothal gift, he never thought that these outstanding backbones that he had painstakingly cultivated would be seduced away by his wife's meal. Should he be angry, or should he be happy? Zui Yinbai was used to losing face. He coughed lightly and said even more shamelessly, "Ahem. Well, we don't ask for the same benefits as the employees in young mistress's restaurant. We just hope that young mistress can give our employees a backdoor so that they can cut in line for young master's sake." Hua Qinhuan was speechless. Chapter 364. Zui Yinbai sounded so pitiful that he almost shouted at Hua Qinhuan, "Save the child." Hua Qinhuan hung up the phone with a cold face, but she still took his words to heart. Su Yiyin received a call from Xia Junsheng shortly after dinner. He told her about Luo Weibing. Ning Shirue has already talked to Luo Weibing. He asked him to bring his sister's test report to the Ning family tomorrow afternoon. You can go and have a look. Both Ning Shirue and Luo Weibing were public figures, and they were popular topics. If they were photographed by some media when they met outside, it would cause another uproar. For this reason, Xia Junsheng discussed with Ning Chirue's agent and decided to meet at Ning Chirue's house. The Ning family was located in a high-end villa area with strict security. No matter how good the paparazzi were, they could not easily sneak in. Yes, is there any problem with the Ning family? You don't have to worry about this. They were very happy when they heard that you were coming. They said that they wanted to see you for a long time. Su Yiyin nodded and muttered, "Well, can I bring my family?" Xia Junsheng's eyebrows twitched. He felt that this topic was not very friendly to a single person like him. It should be okay. Su Yiyin heard Xia Junsheng's uncertainty and did not embarrass him. She chuckled and said, "Forget it, I'll ask them myself." Su Yiyin asked Xia Junsheng for Ning Chirue's contact information and called him directly. Ning Chirue's health had improved a lot during this time, and his family did not restrict his contact with the outside world. When he received a call from Su Yiyin, Ning Chirue was still a little surprised. He thought that she had something to tell him about the meeting with Luo Weibing tomorrow afternoon. As a result, You come to my house to see someone and bring your family? Why can't I? Ning Chirue's mouth twitched slightly, and he could not help but say, Are you conjoined twins? You have to take me with you wherever you go. Su Yin said shyly and confidently, Oh, we are newlyweds. Naturally, we don't want to be separated for a moment. You're still young, so it's normal that you don't understand. Ning Chirue? What did she mean by, I'm still young, so it's normal that I don't understand? Is she mocking me for being young and not having been in a relationship before? But screw you. You're the one who's young. Your whole family is young. I'm not young. So, do you agree or not? I'm just bringing a family member. It's not like I'm staying at your place for dinner. Do you have to be so stingy? Ning Chirue almost exploded in anger. What did she mean by not leaving food at my house? Was that what he cared about? However, when he thought about how much food he had eaten during this period of time, Ning Chirue suddenly became weak. In the end, he snorted coldly, If you want to come, then come. Is there anyone stopping you? But be careful. Please don't do anything inappropriate in public. All right, if there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. I'm a patient and need to rest early. After Ning Chirue finished speaking, he did not wait for Su Yin's reaction and ended the call. Su Yin was stunned for a while before she reacted. What do you mean by please don't do anything inappropriate in public? When did Chenhuan and I? Su Yin was both angry and amused, but in the end, she could not do anything to him. She could only secretly think that she would go over tomorrow and give him 2 more injections. Ning Chirue, who had no idea that his cheap mouth had caused another disaster for himself, suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He had a faint premonition that there seemed to be a wicked person who wanted to harm him. Chapter 365. After dealing with Ning Chirue, Su Yin got up and looked around. She frowned slightly as if she had sensed something. She felt that she seemed to have forgotten something. Su Yin walked around the house a few times, but could not remember what she had forgotten. She had no choice but to give up. Forget it. She would think about it later. At that time, a certain child, who had unfortunately been forgotten by the 2 adults in the Su family, looked at the dark night outside the window with a sad face. Little Dun-Dun, don't be afraid. Yin doesn't want you anymore, but I'm still your uncle. Come, I'll take you to take a bath. We can go to bed after you're done bathing. Su Yuxuan squatted in front of Dun-Dun and revealed the legendary weird uncle smile. Dun-Dun's dull eyes finally reacted after hearing the word bath. It kicked forward with its short legs and kicked Su Yuxuan's handsome face with a force that did not match its small body. Then, while Su Yuxuan was still in a daze, it ran away with its short legs. Su Yuxuan was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted. He hurriedly got up to catch Dun-Dun. Hey, don't run, come back. Woof, 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 woof. It would be stupid if it did not run at this time. It was not stupid. Just like that, one ran and the other chased. The Su family was still in chaos and lively in the middle of the night. The next morning, Zui Yinbai personally sent the little robot to the door. When he saw Hua Chenhuan, his eyes were full of pleading and longing. Hua Chenhuan was speechless. Su Yin did not know about the little episode between the 2. As soon as he learned that Zui Yinbai had sent the little robot over, he immediately ran down from upstairs and said excitedly, Is this a smart little robot? Let me see. Zui Yinbai quickly moved aside, allowing Su Yin to clearly see the little robot's true appearance. It was a little robot about 1 meter tall, and every part of its body looked round. Its head was round, its hands were round, its feet were round, and even its small body was round. It looked like an enlarged version of a glutinous rice ball. Su Yin's eyes lit up. She immediately fell in love with this cute little guy. Does it have a name? No, the robots that haven't been sold yet don't have names, only numbers. It's convenient for customers to name the robots themselves after buying them. The serial number of this robot is 001. 001. Su Yin was startled and immediately thought of a certain system. System, look at her. She's so cute. Unlike you, who often can't even squeeze out a word after poking for a long time. Su Yin was just routinely teasing the system, and he did not expect it to respond. Unexpectedly, the next second, he heard a familiar mechanical voice. "Host, please do not compare the system with such a low-level robot." It was clearly a rigid statement, but Su Yin could hear a trace of disdain and annoyance in it. This was the first time Su Yin felt emotions from the system's reply. Although he was surprised, he could not help but feel a little more interested. His eyes turned slightly, and he looked at the little robot with a smile. "It hasn't been turned on yet? How do I use it?" Zui Yinbai did not say anything. Instead, he looked at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan glanced at him, then took the initiative to bring up the control panel and press it. Su Yin could only see his fingers typing a bunch of things on the panel. It was so fast that there were afterimages. Following his movements, Su Yin's eyes widened, and his heart thumped. There was only one thought left in his mind. No wonder people said that men were the most handsome when they were focused. Her husband was really handsome. Chapter 366. Ding dong. The notification sound of the page opening successfully pulled Su Yin back from his infatuation. Given a name, Hua Chenhuan turned to look at Su Yin with a hint of indulgence between his eyebrows. "Me, the person who names it will be its owner." Su Yin was enlightened. He carefully looked at the little robot and muttered, "Look at how round its body is. Why don't we call it Yuan Yuan?" Hua Chenhuan, Zui Yinbai, the system, Su Yin even thought that the name was quite good. It fit the little robot's appearance and was catchy. "What do you think?" "As long as you're happy." Therefore, this little robot that could not be bought with money was given a name so carelessly. However, the people around could not help but praise the person who named it against their will. It was a good name, a good name, a good name. The little robot, weak, helpless, and pitiful. After Su Yin gave the little robot a name, he seemed to have thought of something and continued to harass the system. "Do you want me to give you a name too? 001 or whatever it is sounds very perfunctory." The system, compared to a name like Yuan Yuan, it felt that 001 was quite good. In order to avoid this fatal problem, the system wisely chose to play dead. No matter how much Su Yin poked it, it was not willing to make sound. Su Yin poked for a long time, but did not get a response. He quickly gave up and continued to torment the little robot. After entering the name, there was another notification sound. The little robot's big black eyes suddenly lit up, and its internal system finally started to operate. "Hello, this is the intelligent little robot Yuan Yuan. From today onwards, I will serve you wholeheartedly. I hope that the owner will like me, love me, and treat me as a member of the family." After the rigid mechanical voice, it turned into a childish voice. "Hello, Big Sister Master. I'm number 001 AI, Yuan Yuan. Don't be fooled by my small size. I'm very useful." Su Yin was startled by her cheerful tone and her tone, which seemed to be asking for credit. She looked at Hua Chenhuan and asked with a smile, "Then what can you do?" "Yuan Yuan can carry the dishes, wash the clothes, clean the house, carry the table, change the light bulbs, and build the manor." Puff. Su Yin listened to the little robot's childish voice as it said that it could carry a table and change light bulbs. For some reason, he felt like he was illegally hiring child labor. "You're so capable. How much should I pay you a month?" "Master, you don't need to pay Yuan Yuan a salary. You just need to let Yuan Yuan eat her fill and have the strength to work." "Full." Su Yin was slightly startled. "Do you mean to recharge your batteries?" "No need." As soon as Su Yin finished speaking, Hua Chenhuan added, "It uses a solar panel. You just need to let it bask in the sun every day." Under normal circumstances, it could be used for 1 to 2 months after basking in the sun for 1 to 2 days. Oh wow, it could operate normally just by basking in the sun, and it could be used for 1 to 2 months. This was simply an extremely long standby. Thinking about it this way, even if this little robot couldn't protect its owner, it could still take on multiple roles. It could be a nanny, a pet, or even a playmate for children at home. It was simply a multi-purpose treasure chest. It was so much better than those little pets that always gave their owner's attitude and ate a lot. Dun Dun, who was caught off guard, was confused. Chapter 367. It's fine as long as it's full. What a low requirement. At the very least, it should be enough to eat and wear warm clothes. How about this? I'll ask Uncle Zhang to prepare a few small clothes for you to change into so that you can wear them to work every day. You can change out of them when they get dirty. Okay? Roly Yuan's round eyes instantly turned into crescents, and its tender voice was tinged with pure joy. Okay, Roly Yuan will be responsible for washing the dirty clothes that you change out of. Its crisp voice, coupled with its round shape, really made people want to hold it in the palm of their hands and give it a few kisses. Do your own things. Roly Yuan is so obedient. As Su Yin spoke, she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. But Roly Yuan, are you a boy or a girl? Huo Qianhuan? Zui Yinbai couldn't help but laugh out loud. Then, he was rewarded with a cold glare by his young master. He was so scared that he shivered and lowered his head to hide the smile on his face. Su Yin didn't seem to care. She only raised her head and looked at Huo Qianhuan in confusion. In her opinion, this little fellow was a product of Huo Qianhuan's company, so Huo Qianhuan should have some say in this matter. Cough. Robots don't have a clear gender. If you like girls, dress it up as girls. If you like boys, dress it up as boys. As soon as she finished speaking, Roly Yuan continued. Roly Yuan can be a girl or a boy, depending on master's needs. I can do anything. Su Yin, what kind of heartwarming little angel was this? Then it's better to be a girl. You can wear all kinds of little dresses. Su Yin looked at Roly Yuan and felt that it would be more convenient for it to wear dresses. However, Huo Qianhuan and Zui Yinbai didn't think so at all. The two of them looked at each other. They inexplicably suspected that the reason why the short-legged robot liked to wear lace dresses was not because of its personal preference, but because of its master, Su Yin. Su Yin didn't know what the two of them were thinking. After confirming the gender of the little robot, it would take some time for someone to send some children's clothes over. She rolled her eyes and turned into the small kitchen. Seeing this, Zui Yinbai couldn't help but whisper to Huo Qianhuan, "Young master, is young madam raising 001 like a child?" Although Huo Qianhuan thought the same, she still scolded coldly. What 001? It's called Yuan Yuan. Zui Yinbai, all right, whatever you say, as long as you're happy. Su Yin went to the kitchen to find an apron that she usually wore and put it on Yuan Yuan. The short skirt fit Yuan Yuan's body just right above his little round penis, and it was surprisingly fitting. The cute snowman pattern in the middle of the apron also looked very compatible with Yuan Yuan. Su Yin looked it up and down and said with satisfaction, "Not bad. I'll make do with it today. I'll change you into a beautiful dress tomorrow." Roly Poly, on the other hand, was very satisfied with this somewhat simple apron. There was even a faint blush on her cheeks. Yuan Yuan likes small skirts. Su Yin smiled. Is that so? It seems that Yuan Yuan is indeed a girl. In the future, Master will change Yuan Yuan's salary into small skirts. Yes, yes. The pitiful and forgotten Zai finally returned home under Su Yuxuan's escort. When it saw this scene, it was as if it was struck by lightning. What a heartless master. It had only been a day since it left home, and he already had a new lover. Chapter 368. Dun Dun was like a grieving wife who had caught her husband secretly meeting with a mistress. Its little penis was kicking as it struggled to escape from Su Yuxuan's embrace. Su Yuxuan was shocked. She wanted to hold it down, but she was worried that she would injure it severely. In a fluster, it quickly escaped. As soon as Dun Dun broke free from Su Yuxuan's embrace, it immediately ran in the direction of the little robot, barking as it ran. Dun Dun. Su Yin was stunned for a moment. When she saw Dun Dun flying towards the little robot, she subconsciously stood in front of the little robot to prevent Dun Dun from pouncing on the little robot. Unexpectedly, in the next second, she heard a familiar mechanical voice behind her. An attacking object has been detected. It is recommended that you immediately expel it. Expel. Before Su Yin had time to understand what this meant, she saw the little robot's cute little round hand suddenly retract. When it reappeared, it had become a hand-shaped paddle. Pa woof! Dun Dun, who was originally aggressive and wanted to take down the mistress, flew out in a parabola and let out a terrified scream. Hua Chenwan, Ziyin by Su Yu Xuan, who had rushed in to try and stop Dun Dun. Dun Dun. In the end, Su Yin, the biological mother, was the first to react. She screamed and ran over to check on Dun Dun's situation. Fortunately, it was lucky. After it was sent flying by Yuan Yuan, it just happened to plunge into the grass outside the door and not into the rose bushes next to it. When Su Yin dug it out from the grass, it only had a few leaves on its body and its fur was dirty. The whole dog was dizzy and couldn't stand steadily, but its life was not in danger. Su Yin picked up Dun Dun and checked it from head to toe. After making sure that it was really fine, she heaved a sigh of relief and lowered her head to poke its little head. You, what should I say about you? Didn't I tell you not to pounce on others casually? Woof! Dun Dun let out a pitiful cry, looking at Su Yin with eyes full of complaints. Not only did you leave your little darling outside, you even found a new lover. It was one thing for him to have a new lover, but at this time he was actually criticizing him for his new lover. You heartless master. Dun Dun was filled with grievances when the little robot ran over and asked its master, detected an aggressive life form, "Do you want to expel it?" Su Yin was slightly stunned. Only then did he understand what the little robot meant by banishing the dog. He laughed and said, "This is our family's dog. We can't banish it." Yuan Yuan received the order and ding dong, master's pet dog. Information has been backed up. No need to expel it. Yuan Yuan carefully and conscientiously checked the surrounding dangerous creatures for its master, but it didn't know that this action once again poked Dun Dun's sensitive little heart. This shameless little fairy not only charmed its master, but also wanted its master to chase it away. If this could be tolerated, what else could be tolerated? Woof, 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 woof. Dun Dun struggled to bare its teeth at Yuan Yuan, struggling to pounce on it. Yuan Yuan's dimmed eyes lit up again with a faint light, detected that this dog is aggressive. Do you want to punish it on the spot? Punish. Su Yin couldn't help but gasp. What do you want to do? Kill on the spot and make it into a dog meat hot pot. Chapter 369. Su Yin looked at the dog and robot who were like fire and water. She helplessly held her forehead and felt a headache coming on. She reached out and patted Dun Dun's head, then rubbed its fur. She gently advised, Dun Dun, be good. This is Yuan Yuan, the new member of our family. You two have to get along well and be harmonious and friendly. Don't fight. When Dun Dun heard Su Yin's words, it did not continue to yell at Yuan Yuan. However, it suddenly turned around and faced Yuan Yuan with its butt. It was clear that it would not cooperate unless there was violence. There is absolutely no possibility of peaceful coexistence. Su Yin rubbed her aching head and sighed helplessly. Hua Chenhuan held her hand and comforted her. Maybe it's because there's suddenly an unfamiliar thing in the house. It'll be fine after a few days. I hope so. What is this? A robot? When the two heard the familiar voice, they subconsciously turned their heads, and only then did they notice Su Yuxuan standing at the side. Brother? When did you come? Su Yuxuan was a little dissatisfied with his sister's neglect. He coldly snorted and said, I came with this little guy. You left it at home yesterday. This little heartless thing used to stay at home when you were at home. Now that you're married, this little fellow has also turned against us. He's been jumping up and down the whole night, wanting to find you, causing a huge commotion in our house. Look at the dark circles under my eyes. It was all caused by this little bastard last night. Su Yin listened to her brother's complaints, and a rare look of embarrassment appeared on her face. No wonder she kept feeling that she had missed something last night. It turned out that she had left this little thing at home. I talked to my aunt yesterday and left Dun Dun at home. This little guy has been quite restless recently. Thank you for your hard work last night. Su Yuxuan sighed and did not continue to dwell on this issue. Instead, he turned his attention to the little robot at the side. This little thing is a robot? Intelligent? Su Yiyin did not say anything. Instead, she glanced at Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan didn't hide anything. It's our company's new product. We'll bring it back for Yin Yin to play with. Just treat it as a product test. Oh. Su Yuxuan was obviously very interested in this little robot, but in the end, she didn't ask Hua Chenhuan for it. However, Hua Chenhuan saw through his thoughts at a glance. Her eyes flashed slightly, and she smiled faintly. This project is not very mature yet. When it's perfected, I'll give one to Big Brother to play with. The expression on Su Yuxuan's face stiffened, and he became angry out of humiliation. Don't think that you can bribe me like this. We're all a family. What's the point of talking about bribing? If you have something good, don't tell me you're going to give it to strangers instead of your family. Su Yuxuan's eyes flickered. After a few minutes, he finally relented and said, "All right then. When you're done, sell me one to bring home." Hua Chenhuan's lips curved slightly, but she didn't refute. When the time came, wouldn't it be up to him to sell or give it away? This robot's technology is not mature yet. There won't be any danger in leaving it at home, right? No, our robot's priority is to protect its owner. Its owner is Yin Yin. Su Yuxuan was completely relieved. In the end, he looked at the little robot a few more times before leaving. During the conversation between the two, Su Yin didn't interrupt from beginning to end. It wasn't until Su Yuxuan left that he couldn't help but laugh out loud. You really know how to win people's hearts. If you give this robot away, my brother won't be able to find fault with you in the future. Chapter 370. Hua Chenhuan looked at her deeply and said meaningfully, "I'll only be able to live a good life in your family if I please my brother-in-law. You make it sound like my brother and the rest really did something to you. My parents didn't make things difficult for you when you came home with me yesterday." Hua Chenhuan smiled, but didn't say anything. The Su family didn't make things difficult for him yesterday, and even tried to accept him. They had already shown their attitude, so he naturally couldn't be too passive. Even if it was for Su Yiyin, he should try his best to build a good relationship with them. By the way, didn't you say that this robot only has some basic functions? Why did it have such a big reaction when Dun Dun pounced on it just now? Also, it had banished and punished. These words were especially frightening. Although its functions aren't particularly complete, it's still a robot assembled with this foundation, so it naturally has a certain level of protection. It's just that. It's just that its protection isn't particularly strong. At most, it can only chase it away. Su Yiyin instantly understood the meaning behind Hua Chenhuan's words. She probed, if it's completely completed, wouldn't its lethality be? Hua Chenhuan looked at her and said meaningfully, Dun Dun was lucky to have his life back. Su Yiyin, woof. Dun Dun, who didn't know that he had just brushed shoulders with the Grim Reaper, looked at his master and dog father in confusion. Su Yiyin patted his dog's head in pity. She didn't need to say anything. Su Yiyin still had to bring Hua Chenhuan to the Ning family in the afternoon. Before she left, she reminded her repeatedly. She told Yuan that Dun Dun was a family member. Even if he was a little rash, she couldn't be too harsh on him. She was afraid that when she came back from this trip, she would see her own child's cold corpse. Unfortunately, Dun Dun didn't understand his master's motherly feelings at all. As soon as he saw his master leave, he immediately ran to find trouble with Yuan excitedly. Su Yiyin still didn't know that no one could stop his family's dogs and bears when they got together. It was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon when the two arrived at the Ning residence. Perhaps because the Ning family had informed them in advance, the journey was smooth, and they quickly arrived at the entrance of the Ning residence. To everyone's surprise, although Ning Siyuan was the only one who came out to welcome Su Yiyin and Su Yu, when they entered the house, there were 5 or 6 people sitting inside. Among them were 2 middle-aged couples and 2 white-haired old men who looked about the same age as her grandfather. Su Yiyin was slightly startled. For a moment, he was somewhat unable to grasp the meaning of this family. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have noticed that she was on guard against these people. He took the initiative to hold her hand and told her that he was here and that she didn't need to worry. Ning Siyuan was even more perceptive as he introduced the two of them. This is my parents and grandfather. Opposite them is my uncle, aunt, and grandfather. Su Yiyin raised his eyebrows. He quickly realized that the elders of the Ning family and the Qi family were all present. This lineup was not ordinary. But was this a show of force to show them who was in charge, or... Before she could think about it, Mrs. Ning had already stepped forward and held Su Yiyin's hand enthusiastically. You must be Mrs. Hua, right? Don't stand at the door. Come in and have a seat. Su Yiyin was stunned by her sudden familiarity. By the time she reacted, she had already been pulled in. Hua Chenwan's eyes flashed when he saw this. He politely declined Ning Siyuan's help and turned his wheelchair to Su Yiyin's side. He looked coldly at the two families to see what they were up to. Chapter 371. In fact, the two of them really thought too much. The reason why the Ning and Qi families had gathered here was mainly because they wanted to see the two of them. When we heard about Rurui's condition from Siyuan, we've always wanted to see you. However, Rurui's illness really made us feel a little overwhelmed. Secondly, we were afraid that it would be too abrupt to come here rashly. 2 days ago, we heard Rurui say that he wanted to invite you to our house. So we wanted to get together to see you and thank you. You're too kind. Chirue is an artist of our company. It's a good thing for me and the company that he's well. Su Yiyin paused and said awkwardly, If you don't mind, you can call me Yayan. Su Yiyin felt a little psychological pressure to be addressed by a person who was old enough to be her mother. Okay. Mrs. Ning looked at Su Yiyin discreetly, and the more she looked, the more she liked her. It was a pity that she was already taken. Otherwise, regardless of age, appearance, or family background, she was very compatible with Siyuan. Mrs. Ning said, and looked at her eldest son with disappointment. He was already so old, but he still didn't hurry to find a wife. All the good girls had been taken away by others. Young Master Ning, who was really shot even though he was lying down, was speechless. Mom, don't look at me. Can't you see that the wife's eyes are almost piercing your son into a sieve? Su Yiyin also had goosebumps when Mrs. Ning looked at her. She took the initiative to ask, Chirue should be better recently, right? There haven't been any other complications, right? As soon as Ning Chirue was mentioned, the attention of several people instantly focused on Su Yiyin. Recently, he has been slowly recovering. He has been eating the food that you sent over. His condition is indeed slowly improving. Su Yiyin breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. As long as it doesn't worsen and there are no other complications, he will get better and better after a period of slowly recuperation. His illness can't be rushed. He has to recuperate for a while. When Mr. Ning heard her say this, he hurriedly said, It doesn't matter how long it takes. As long as he can get better, it's worth it no matter how much time we spend. Madam Ning nodded in agreement. That's true. At this time, the old man sitting opposite her suddenly said, I heard that you used acupuncture to treat Chirue. This method has been lost for a long time. Who would have thought that in the end, it would reappear in the hands of a young man? Truly, the new generation excels the old. Su Yiyin was slightly startled, but she immediately realized that Yi Qiliang had approached her because he had accidentally heard from Ning Chirue's grandfather that she had treated Ning Chirue. Now that this old man mentioned this, it was not strange. It just so happens that I have some books about this at home, and it just so happens that I have some interest and talent in this area, so I took advantage of it. You don't have to be modest. Although old man Yi has a bad temper, he never jokes about serious matters. He was full of praises for you, so I think you must have real talent and knowledge. Moreover, Chirue's recovery was indeed due to you. We all saw it, and were very grateful to you. Su Yiyin listened to the old man's praise, but only laughed dryly. She was really not good at dealing with other people's gratitude. Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyin's discomfort. Her eyes darkened slightly, and she suddenly interjected, You all gathered here so cautiously. It shouldn't be just to thank Yin Yin, right? Chapter 372. As soon as Hua Chenhuan said that, the room fell silent. The smile on Mrs. Ning's face froze for a moment. She pursed her lips, sighed, and said truthfully, just as Mr. Hua said, "We gathered here to see Mrs. Hua and thank her in person. We also wanted to ask Mrs. Hua if she could take a look at Si Yuan as well." For Madame Ning, these words were really difficult to say. She didn't ask for anything in return and spent time and effort to treat her youngest son, saving his life. It was bad enough that she didn't want to thank her or compensate her, but she actually wanted her to continue treating her eldest son. No matter how one looked at it, they seemed a little shameless. However, Mrs. Ning had no choice. Ning Siyuan's asthma had always been a worry for the family. Now that she suddenly knew that there was a possibility of a cure, she had no choice but to ask, even if it meant sacrificing her dignity. "I know this request is very unreasonable, but I still want to shamelessly beg you to be considerate of a mother's heart." "Mom." Ning Siyuan couldn't bear to see his mother humbling herself for him. He frowned and wanted to stop her. However, Mrs. Ning only looked at him deeply and continued, "Siyuan's asthma came from his mother's womb. All these years, I've often wondered if I did something evil in my previous life to cause my child to suffer like this." When Mrs. Ning said this, both families looked at her in surprise. Obviously, they didn't expect her to think this way. Because of this illness, Si Yuan's body was weak when he was young. Every time he had an attack, he would suffer for a long time. As his parents, it's impossible for us not to feel sorry for him. In order to make him feel better, we moved from our hometown to City A, where the air quality is the best. Even so, his illness hasn't improved, and he can only rely on medicine to alleviate it. Every medicine has its side effects. What really broke Mrs. Ning down was that they were already worried sick about their eldest son's illness. Their healthy youngest son suddenly fell ill. If it weren't for the help of a benefactor, he might have passed away earlier than their eldest son. Suddenly knowing this, Madame Ning almost fainted on the spot. Even now, thinking about it, she still felt deeply frightened and scared. She couldn't bear the blow of losing any of her sons, and she couldn't worry about her children day and night. She was afraid that something would happen to him as soon as he left her sight, and she wouldn't have time to give him first aid or take medicine to relieve his pain. Su Yiyin did not immediately agree. Instead, he pondered for a moment and gave an ambiguous answer. "I'll think about it." Mrs. Ning looked a little disappointed. Mr. Ning reached out and hugged her. She quickly recovered and said with a faint smile, "Take your time to think about it. There's no rush." "Yes." Su Yiyin nodded. "Luo Weebing should have arrived, right?" "He's already here. I asked him to wait in Chirue's room." "Well, I'll go over to check on Chirue's situation first and meet him on the way. I'll walk you up." Ning Siyuan stood up and prepared to walk them up personally. Hua Chenhuan held Su Yiyin's hand that was about to push him upstairs. "You go up. I'll wait for you downstairs." Su Yiyin was a little surprised. She glanced at Hua Chenhuan and then at the people in the room. She was not relieved and said, "Wait for me here for a while. I'll be down soon." "Okay." Chapter 373. As she watched Su Yiyin follow Ning Siyuan upstairs, Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. She looked at everyone in the room expressionlessly. The few of them had witnessed the stark difference in Hua Chenhuan's attitude towards Su Yiyin compared to when he was with them. They also had some new speculations about the rumor that the two of them had a business marriage instead of true love. Mr. Ning patted his wife's hand comfortingly and said, "I heard that Mr. Hua's company has been busy applying for patents related to electronic products." Hua Chenhuan looked up at him. She was not surprised that he knew about this. Although the Ning and Qi families appeared to be big business families on the surface, they were comparable to the Chung family when it came to relationships within certain organizations. "Mr. Ning, are you interested in this too?" "I am, but unfortunately, I don't know much about this. I'm not an expert. If I really want to enter the industry, I'll need a professional to guide me." Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered. She instantly understood Mr. Ning's intentions. "So, you chose me to be your guide?" Mr. Ning did not expect Hua Chinhuan to be so straightforward. He frowned and said honestly, "You can say that. Reason? What is it?" "My reason for choosing me." Mr. Ning's face stiffened. He coughed softly and said, "This type of product requires a lot of investment. Even if it can be listed, it will require a fixed amount of publicity funds in the initial period. We can invest in all of this. Is it because of Ning Siyuan's illness?" Hua Chenhuan saw through their intentions. "You want me to persuade Yin Yin to agree to treat Ning Siyuan through investment?" Yes. This was the only way they could think of to repay Su Yiyin. "I refuse." Mr. and Mrs. Ning were shocked. "Mr. Hua, you can think about it. I won't force Yin Yin to do anything that she doesn't want to do. But if she agrees to treat Ning Siyuan today, she will treat him even if you don't cooperate with me. On the other hand, if she's not willing to treat Ning Siyuan, even if you work with me, I won't ask her for benefits." Madame Ning looked anxious. She wanted to say something, but was stopped by Grandpa Qi. Shuang Air. Qi Yu Shuang pursed her lips and lowered her head in disappointment. The two elders, who had the most authority, looked at each other and thought highly of Hua Chenhuan. It was Yao Hui and the others who were rude. "Even without your wife, the prospects of your company's products are still very promising." Hua Chenhuan met Elder Ning's gaze. Her eyes were deep, and she didn't say anything. Su Yiyin did not know what had happened downstairs after she left. She followed Ning Siyuan up to the second floor and soon arrived at Ning Chirue's room. As soon as he opened the door, he could see the furnishings inside. In order to store the medical equipment in the already spacious room, the room next door was forcibly opened, and the two rooms were combined into one. Not only were there one or two medical equipment in the room, but there were also all kinds of furniture and game equipment. Su Yiyin's mouth twitched. Ning Siyuan stood next to her and understood her thoughts at a glance. He said awkwardly, "Chirui can't go out during this period. It's too boring to be alone in the room." "He's not a quiet person." Su Yiyin was speechless. "You don't have to explain. How could your brother be so unrestrained while recovering from his illness? Did he forget that he was still a patient?" "So that's how it is. I heard that you plan to transfer to our company?" Luo Weibing didn't expect to meet Su Yiyin before this. To be precise, he wasn't mentally prepared to meet her so early and under such circumstances. After a long silence, he nodded hesitantly. "Yes, if possible, I want to transfer to your company. But I have a request. For your sister?" Luo Weibing was stunned again. He lowered his head slightly and said in a hoarse voice, "Yes. I hope your company can arrange for Mr. Ning's attending doctor to take a look at my sister. Her health is not very good." Su Yiyin saw Luo Weibing's defense and didn't intend to continue to beat around the bush. She reached out and said, "Where's the case? Give it to me." Chapter 375. Luo Weibing's eyes widened, and he looked at Su Yiyin in surprise. His hand holding the medical record tightened subconsciously. Ning Chirue saw that he did not respond for a long time and urged him, "Give it to her." Su Yiyin also smiled. "You have been clamoring to see me before. Now that I am in front of you, why are you hesitating?" Luo Weibing thought to himself, "When did I clamor to see you?" The words were about to come out of his mouth when he suddenly realized something. His face changed. "You are what? You are the attending doctor that Ning Chirue mentioned?" The smile on Su Yiyin's face suddenly froze. He turned his head and glared daggers at Ning Chirue. Ning Chue touched his nose guiltily and whispered, "You are the one who treated her, so it's not wrong to say so." Luo Weibing finally woke up from his daze and hurriedly handed over the information in his hand. "Sorry, I didn't think of it. I'm really sorry I didn't." In the eyes of the fans, this big star was humble, gentle, calm, and introverted. It was rare to see pure fear and anxiety on his face. He was afraid that Su Yiyin would not treat his sister because of his negligence just now. Su Yiyin took the information and flipped through it slightly to see the test results at the bottom. Heart failure. Su Yiyin knew that Luo Weibing's sister died because of heart problems, but he did not expect it to be heart failure. How could a 12-year-old girl suffer from heart failure? Luo Weibing saw Su Yiyin frowning and looking dignified. His heart also thumped, and he called out tentatively, "President Su." Su Yiyin took a deep breath and asked in a low voice, heart palpitations, difficulty breathing, and blue and purple lips. When did these symptoms begin? Luo Weibing was stunned. These things were not written in the diagnosis, but Su Yiyin could say it all at once. Luo Weibing could not help but have a glimmer of hope in his heart. These symptoms began to appear one by one about 3 months ago. At first, they were only occasional, but in the past month, they began to become frequent. What about before? This child should have had other minor symptoms before, such as fatigue easily, chest tightness from time to time, shortness of breath, and so on. Didn't you notice anything before this? Luo Weibing's face changed slightly, and the hand hanging on his side tightened subconsciously. That's right, he didn't notice it. More accurately, he did notice it, but he didn't take it to heart. In his opinion, his sister's body had always been weak since she was young. In addition, when their parents had just passed away, the two of them had been tossing and turning all over the place. This had affected the child's body and mind to a certain extent. His younger sister had always been quiet since she was young. After her parents passed away, she didn't like to talk much. Other than with him, she was always timid and scared of strangers. Chapter 376. When Luo Weibing hears Su Yiyin's words, he immediately looks forward to it. Do you have a way? I can't make a conclusion for the time being without seeing her, but you have to be mentally prepared. Luo Weibing looks at Su Yiyin's serious face, and his heart trembles. He is afraid of getting a terrible answer. What? This disease is not easy to cure. Although it can be prevented to a certain extent, it may not be completely cured. If this is the case, your sister may have to take medicine for a lifetime. Your sister is only 12 years old this year, which means that you may have to pay for her long-term medical expenses. Su Yiyin doesn't finish the words, but the meaning of the words is clear. To prolong life or to give up, the responsibility of choosing the former is more than 1,000 times heavier. This is a helpless multiple-choice question, but it is also the most serious test of human nature. Luo Weibing doesn't even think about it. These are not problems. As long as my sister can be well, as long as she is well. Su Yiyin heaved a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. All right, then let's talk about your contract. I have talked about this with Mr. Xia of your company before. My request is very simple. As long as you can cure my sister, I can compromise on a specific share. This is the rhythm of directly signing the contract of selling himself. Su Yiyin's eyebrows are slightly bent, but he is not stunned by his sugar-coated cannonball. Instead, he asked a completely unrelated question. How was your relationship with your previous manager? Luo Weibing's face suddenly becomes subtle. Not very good. Su Yiyin is amused by his words. Not very good, but very bad? Luo Weibing is embarrassed and says truthfully, because of Chi-Chi's affairs, I haven't been doing my job recently, so my relationship with him is not particularly good. What Luo Weibing doesn't say is that his agent is a person who is used to taking advantage of the wind and putting interests first. He has done a lot of dirty things. When he first signed in that company, he thought that he had a good luck and had a way out, but the reality slapped him hard. In order to save a female artist who was also a pimp, Luo Weibing offended a powerful department leader in the company. He was slandered and kept in cold storage for more than 2 years. During that time, Luo Weibing not only lost his source of income, but also was repeatedly found trouble. The whole family was restless. Even his sister was frightened by him several times. At that time, he had really thought of dying. But when he thought of how young his sister was, without him taking care of her, there would only be one outcome for her. So he had no choice but to grit his teeth and persevere. As for his manager, not only did he not lend him a helping hand at that time, He even stepped on him a few times out of fear that he would be held accountable for his actions in order to please the team leader. Later on, he was spotted by the director of a small web drama because of his cameo. He was given a chance to play the second male lead in the drama. No one expected that such an inconspicuous director, such an inconspicuous web drama, the male and female protagonists were not popular, but Luo Weibing, the second male lead, was unexpectedly popular. Luo Weibing felt that his luck in his life might have been used at that time. When he suddenly became popular, the company was just in a state of shortage. Suddenly, there appeared an artist who could be supported. Even if the former department leader fanned the flames behind his back and tried his best to prevent the company from cultivating him, he still couldn't win. Chapter 377. Luo Weibing seized the opportunity and became the company's hottest newcomer. He lived up to the company's expectations. Soon, he won countless awards with his own ability and became a double gold actor that many people couldn't get in their lives. His manager had returned to his side once again, trying to curry favor with him and coerce him into doing so. Luo Weibing was already disappointed with this agent and the company at that time. It was just that it involved the contract, so he had to stay in the company. Even if Luo Weibing didn't say it, Su Yiyin could probably guess some of it. There were only a few reasons why agents and artists had conflicts. Looking at Luo Weibing's face, she was afraid that it was not as simple as him taking less work recently. Does he have anything on you? I don't think so. Luo Weibing thought of that person's virtue and frowned slightly. But with his personality, maybe he will make something out of nothing. Su Yiyin's eyes darkened slightly, and she said with a smile, "This is troublesome. We are such a small company. If we really fight with your original agency." As soon as Luo Weibing heard her words, he immediately became anxious. "Boss Su, I really want to enter your company sincerely, and I have never done anything harmful to others." Su Yiyin couldn't help but laugh out loud. Okay. I didn't say that I don't want you. Let me finish." Luo Weibing pursed his lips and looked at her eagerly, but she said proudly in the next second, "Our small company may not win against your former agency, but my husband is rich. With his help, no one can touch the people in my company." Luo Weibing, the others in the room, will you die if you don't show off your love? Ning Shui was annoyed by the public display of affection and said angrily, "Can't you be more promising? You look for your husband for everything." Su Yiyin heard this and sneered. "I haven't seen you for a few days, and your mouth has become nimble again. Believe it or not, I will give you a few needles now. No matter how many needles you give me, I will say the same thing." Ning Shui looked unconvinced. "Am I wrong? You always bring up your husband. Can't you have a little backbone?" "Backbone? My husband and I are family. What does his mind? If I don't hug such a big golden thigh and hold on by myself, that's not called having a backbone. That's called being stupid." Ning Chirue was speechless. Oh, how infuriating. But I couldn't refute it. This single dog was really anxious to death. Ning Siyuan watched the scene from the side with a slight smile. In the past, he had only seen his younger brother make people speechless. It was rare to see someone make him so speechless. However, Ning Siyuan subconsciously glanced at Su Yiyin. Being able to make a woman trust and rely on him was a kind of happiness for some people. After defeating Ning Chirue, Su Yiyin proudly raised his chin and looked at Luo Weibing. "If you sincerely want to come to our company, I will call Brother Junsheng when I go back and ask him to contact you to discuss the contract. But you have to be mentally prepared. I don't expect you to bring much benefit to my company, but I don't like artists who are disloyal to my company. Moreover, our company's contract year is more stringent. People like you must sign a 10-year contract at one time." Luo Weibing was stunned. He was 24 this year. 10 years later, he would be 34. It could be said that he had signed the golden 10 years of his life in this circle. Chapter 378. Su Yiyin glanced at him. "What do you think? Do you need some time to think about it?" "No need," Luo Weibing said without thinking. "As long as you can save my sister, I will sign the 10-year contract. That's good. Su Yin's eyes lit up slightly. You don't have to worry. I signed you to the company to make money. I won't treat you badly in terms of resources. As for your sister's medical expenses, I will deduct it from your salary. Ning Shirue told you that my treatment of him is an internal employee benefit. You will be an artist of our company after signing the contract. You can also enjoy the internal employee benefits. Luo Weebing was slightly startled and then couldn't help but laugh. I understand. I will talk to Mr. Xia as soon as possible. Okay. Luo Weebing's sister was still in the hospital. Luo Weebing was worried about leaving for too long. After confirming his work with Su Yiyin, he left first. When leaving, Ning Shirue suddenly asked Ning Siyuan to help send Luo Weebing off. Although Ning Siyuan was puzzled, he did not say anything and took Luo Weebing downstairs. As soon as the two left, Su Yiyin turned around and asked Ning Shirue, "You deliberately sent your brother away. Is there anything you want to say to me?" Ning Shirue stiffened and said uncomfortably, "What did my parents talk to you about just now? What do you think they talked about with me? Is it related to my brother's illness? You actually know about it?" Su Yiyin exclaimed and looked at Ning Shirue with surprise in her eyes. Ning Shirue was irritated by her look. "What do you mean I actually know? Am I that stupid?" Although his family said that they wanted to see Su Yiyin to thank her in person for saving him, Ning Shirue was not stupid. If it was only his parents, it would be fine. Even his grandfather and the others were dragged over. Obviously, it was not just to thank her in person. After thinking about it, the only possibility was that it was about his brother's illness. Su Yiyin looked at him and joked, "No?" Ning Shirue's face darkened and turned his face to the side. "Humph." Su Yiyin laughed. "Since you've already guessed it, don't you have anything to say to me?" Ning Shirue furrowed his brows and turned his face around again. He carefully probed, "Then my brother's illness. It can be cured." Ning Shirue's face lit up. "Then I have a condition." "Didn't you just mention internal employee benefits?" "Oh, you mean Luo Weebing? He's a key employee, so he's naturally different from someone like you." "What do you mean by like me? What I look like?" Ning Shirue suddenly became angry. "We're both artists in the company. How is he different from me? I'm an old employee. He's here with results." Su Yiyin crossed her arms in front of her chest and clicked her tongue. "On the other hand, not only did your performance not stand out, you even dragged us down. How can you compare yourself to others?" Chapter 379. Ning Shirue was stunned for a few seconds and became angry. "I'm not joking with you. I'm not joking with you either." Su Yiyin blinked innocently. Ning Shirue froze. He stared at Su Yiyin for a while and finally gave in. Avoiding Su Yin's eyes, he whispered, "Will you really agree if I beg you?" "You can try. It depends on my mood." "You." Ning Shirue exploded again. The two continued to stare at each other. After a few seconds, Su Yiyin held back her laughter and said, "So, are you begging me or not? If you're not begging, I'm leaving." Su Yiyin pretended to leave. Ning Shirue was anxious. "Wait. I beg you." Ning Shirue's voice was not much louder than a mosquito. Su Yin's eyes flashed slightly. "What? I didn't hear you." Ning Shirue glared at her fiercely. "Please, please, please cure my brother. Is this okay?" Su Yin could not hold back and laughed. "You, begging someone is like seeking revenge. So, are you going to save him or not? Let me ask you a question first. After you recover, do you still want to stay in the entertainment industry and continue to be a small star?" Ning Shirue was stunned. Just say whether you want to or not." "I want to. I'm not a person who gives up halfway. If I say I want to go back in glory." "That's fine. You originally signed a 3-year contract, right? You can renew it with Luo Weebing for a few years and make it a 10-year contract." Su Yin had already thought about it. These potential stocks must be secured in advance so that her company could develop as soon as possible. Ning Shirue was not stupid. After a few seconds, he quickly reacted and said angrily, "Treacherous, childish, bastard, stingy, Zhou Bapi." Su Yin let him scold him. How did he find this little bastard so amusing in the past? After scolding him for a long time, it didn't hurt or itch, and he couldn't think of a new word. After he finished scolding, Su Yin smiled and said, "This is a lesson for you. In the future, don't listen to what others say. Otherwise, it's a small matter if you hurt yourself, but it's a big matter if you hurt your family." Ning Chirue's expression changed slightly. He knew that Su Yin was referring to his trust in Wen Jingping and his previous hostility toward her. Thinking about it from another perspective, if he was insinuated by someone for no reason, he would not repay evil with kindness and save the life of the person who instigated him. Fortunately, he had fallen ill right after he finished mocking Su Yin. Otherwise, he would have been brainwashed by Wen Jingping to the point that he believed her without a doubt. He really couldn't be sure what he would have done to Su Yin. That's right, it was brainwashing. Although he was sick during this period, he did pay attention to the storms on the internet. Naturally, he knew how much trouble Wen Jingping had caused after he fell ill. The more he read, the clearer his mind became. When he thought about it, he felt more and more that he had been possessed a few months ago. Why did he have such a good impression of a strange woman so easily? Why did he so easily believe all of her words and completely treat her as a victim? Even the slightest doubt was accompanied by a strong sense of guilt, especially when he heard Su Yin say this. He couldn't help but feel scared. If he had really listened to Wen Jingping's words and done something substantial to hurt her with righteous indignation, would she still save him? Would she still save his family? Chapter 380. Su Yin saw the fear in Ning Chirue's eyes and knew that he already knew what was going on, so she did not continue to discuss this topic. If there's nothing else, I should go back. Have a good rest. As for the contract, I'll let someone talk to you when you're better. Hey, don't. Ning Chirue said anxiously. Hurry up. You want to sign it so badly? Ning Chirue almost exploded again. Didn't you just tell Luo Weebing that he can only treat his sister after signing the contract? The earlier you sign it, the earlier my brother can recover. Su Yin smiled. Okay, then I'll let Brother Junxing arrange it as soon as possible. You should take care of yourself first. The sooner you recover, the sooner you can shine for the company. Cheapskate Joe, you only know how to exploit small employees like us. Su Yin ignored Ning Chirue's dissatisfaction and left contentedly. After leaving Ning Chirue's room and walking forward for a while, she found that Ning Chirue's agent had followed her out. Why are you out too? What's the matter? The agent was all smiles. I'll walk you out. Su Yin glanced at him and did not think much, until, President Su, about the employee benefits you just mentioned to Chirue, can I also? Su Yin paused and turned to look at him in surprise. What's wrong with you? It's just that we're old, and our married life is not very harmonious. Ning Chirue's agent was in his early 40s and had many characteristics of a middle-aged man. He was greasy, bald, and had a beer belly. When he smiled, the flesh on his face was a little twisted. But it was such a person who had been by Ning Chirue's side to help take care of him when he was sick. He had never thought of bringing another newcomer to transfer the contracts that Ning Chirue had not been able to complete before. He was a serious and responsible person who valued friendship. Su Yin could not help but want to hold her forehead when she heard his words. She really opened a real management company, not a private hospital that specialized in treating difficult diseases and infertility. Okay, when I'm free this weekend, I'll make some medicinal cuisine for you. Send them in batches and increase the severity of the cases. Postpone your case for now. The manager was a simple and honest person. When he heard Su Yin's words, not only did he not have any objections, he even felt a little touched. The company's CEO spent his personal break time to give them employee benefits. With such a good boss, he was full of energy and could work for another 500 years. Fortunately, Su Yin did not know what he was thinking. Otherwise, he would have despised him. 500 years had passed, yet he was still so energetic. Who was he trying to scare? When Su Yin came downstairs, Chunwan's conversation with the two families was almost over. Their expressions were the same as usual, and nothing could be seen. Seeing Su Yiyin coming down from upstairs, Hua Qinhuan's face softened slightly. She took the initiative to ask, "Is everything settled?" "Well, it's all settled. Let's go home." "All right." When Qi Yushuang heard that the two were leaving, she tried to persuade them to stay. "It's getting late. Why don't you stay for dinner before you leave? The chef at home is new. Although his cooking is not as good as your restaurant's, it's still edible." Su Yiyin refused without hesitation. "No, we still have something to do. We won't stay any longer." Qi Yushuang wanted to say something, but was stopped by her husband. In the end, she could only bow her head in disappointment and watch the two leave. As soon as they came out of the Qi family, Su Yiyin happily shared the harvest of her trip with Hua Qinhuan. Chapter 381. You don't know. I've tied up 2 good seedlings for the company. When they enter my company, the company's performance will soon improve. Hua Qinhuan looks at Su Yiyin's radiant appearance, a little happy and a little sour. "Do you like them so much? They can help me make money." "Of course I like them." "You like money so much." "Of course, I have you to support. Although the companies you gave me made a lot of profits, no one would complain about having too much money, right?" Listening to the tone of Su Yiyin's words, it was clear that she wanted to raise Hua Qinhuan as a canary. If someone else dared to say this, Hua Qinhuan would have been thrown into the sea to feed the fish. But when he heard Su Yiyin say this, he only felt his heart soften. The subtle sourness from before also quickly dissipated completely. Su Yiyin didn't notice that her husband's jealousy came and went quickly. She was worried about how to arrange Luo weaving. Luo weaving could achieve this with his grassroots background. Needless to say, his strength and appearance were good. Such a money tree. If she didn't make good use of it, how could she be the boss of a company? However, because Luo weaving had a high status, she couldn't abuse him at will. She couldn't put any messy resources on him. It was best to take the road of simple and high-class acting, and the company could help to package him. Now what needed to be considered was the agent and follow-up resources. The agent was simple. Previously, she had used Wen Jingping's incident to flare up and purged many problematic managers and executives in the company. Now most of the people left were honest people who were more dutiful but not stupid. It should not be difficult to choose one of them to lead the movie king. As for resources, do we have a spokesperson for the holographic game? Spokesperson? Hua Qinhuan was surprised. No. The first holographic game in the world, this gimmick alone was enough to attract a large wave of game fans. There was no need to attract any traffic at all. Therefore, from the beginning, they didn't intend to find anyone to endorse. But if the boss's wife asked for a spokesperson, it was not impossible to consider. You want an artist from your company to be the spokesperson for this game? Keep the goodies within the family. Su Yiyin had a sly look on her face. Can I? At the end of the month, Luo Weaving's contract with his brokerage company expired. 1 best actor and 1 best actress. Their status is still enough. They won't let the game company suffer. As long as you're happy, it's settled then. Su Yiyin enjoyed the pleasure of nibbling on her husband. After solving the big problem in her heart, she thought about Ning Chirue's family. What did they talk about with you after I went up? Just some business matters. Business matters? They won't work with you? Yes. Is there nothing else apart from this? They didn't ask you to persuade me to treat Ning Siyuan? Hua Qinhuan was slightly startled. At the same time, she felt that it was natural. Her yin-yin was so smart. How could he not guess what those people were thinking? Yes. Su Yiyin's interest was instantly piqued. What did they tell you? Before Hua Qinhuan could finish, Su Yiyin reminded him first. Don't lie. Don't hide anything. Hua Qinhuan choked and said helplessly, They want me to persuade you to treat Ning Siyuan by investing in cooperation with me. Chapter 382. This result was within Su Yiyin's expectations. She was just a little absent-minded. After reading the so-called original novel, Su Yiyin only understood in hindsight. Hua Xiaofeng's family was obviously incompetent, and Wen Jingping was obviously just an ordinary woman with no family background. Hua Chenhuan spent so much effort to completely destroy these scumbags in her previous life. Now, because of her involvement, these two families not only did not stand on Wen Jingping's side, but also took the initiative to seek cooperation with Hua Chenhuan. Did this mean that a lot of the plot had changed? She and Hua Chenhuan, and even her family, would not end in tragedy like in her previous life? Yin Yin, Yin Yin. Hua Chenhuan's low voice pulled Su Yin's attention back. Did you promise them? No. Su Yin was anxious. Why? What if Wen Jingping took advantage of such a good opportunity and took it back? I don't want to ask you to do something you don't like. Su Yin was stunned and immediately laughed. But I've already promised Ning Chirue that I would help his brother. Aren't you missing out on a great opportunity? Hua Chenhuan was not surprised by this result. His Yin Yin was so kind. If someone sincerely asked for help, he would certainly help. Your promise means that you are willing to do this, and you will be happy because of it. For me, this is the most important thing. Su Yin, oh my God, where did this guy learn to say so many sweet nothings? She couldn't take it anymore. Su Yin, who was a little dizzy from the sugar-coated words, could not hold on to her bottom line. When the driver in front was not paying attention, she leaned over and kissed Hua Chenhuan. Forget it, forget it. If they're sincere about cooperating with your company. Before Su Yin could finish, she was interrupted by Hua Chenhuan. Our company. Okay. If they were sincere about cooperating with our company, they would have come to us even without this incident. On the other hand, if they cooperated with other purposes, they would gather when the benefits were plentiful and disperse when the benefits were exhausted. When the time came, they would leave. The most frightening thing was that they would come back and stab you with a knife. That would be the real deal. Even if there really came a day where the plot, which had already deviated from its original track, returned to its original position, this group of people had not been able to defeat Hua Chenhuan in her previous life. This time, with her around, she would not let them succeed so easily. When the two of them returned home from the Ning residence, it was already dark. As soon as they got out of the car, they heard a burst of heart-wrenching dog barking, as well as the screams of men and women. The smile on Su Yin's face stiffened. She suddenly thought of something and hurriedly pushed Hua Chenhuan inside. By the time the two of them arrived at the house, the initial commotion had already subsided. A group of people stood in an empty space in the hall, looking at something. Su Yin could vaguely see Roly-Poly's cold metal shell through the gaps in the crowd. Her heart could not help but tremble slightly. She asked in a low voice what happened. Hearing her voice, the people who were originally surrounding her subconsciously turned around and looked in her direction. Su Yin was also proud of the scene in the middle of the crowd. Roly-Poly was still wearing the little apron she gave in the morning, but its little hands had turned into huge, shiny scissors. About half a meter away from it, a pitiful bald cub had curled itself into a ball and shut itself in. On the floor beside it, there were many brown and white, its fur. Chapter 383. Su Yin's face went blank for a moment. After a while, she finally found her voice. What's going on? Ahem. Uncle Zhang saw Su Yin asking and said truthfully, after young master and young mistress went out, Dun Dun kept circling Yuan Yuan. It followed Yuan Yuan when she swept the floor, and when Yuan Yuan went out to mow the lawn, it also followed. It even harassed Yuan Yuan a few times, but it was basically just small fights. Therefore, they didn't take it to heart at first. They only thought that this little guy saw that there was a new companion in the house that could move, work, and talk, so it kept harassing it because it was curious. They didn't expect that this distraction would cause problems. We saw that they were playing well at first, so we didn't pay too much attention. But we didn't expect Dun Dun to get angry at this time and keep pouncing on Yuan Yuan, trying to knock it down. Su Yin frowned. It wasn't that she didn't know about Dun Dun's hostility towards Yuan Yuan. She originally thought that this little guy would at least listen to her after nagging for so long. But now, it seemed that she was still taking it for granted. Dun was quite fierce, but it wasn't as agile as Yuan. After Yuan dodged it a few times, it got angrier and wanted to bite Yuan's apron. So Yuan. Uncle Zhang's words were implicit, but Su Yiyin still quickly understood the ins and outs of the matter. In the end, this matter was that the brat found out that there was a new companion in the house, and it was afraid that it would fall out of favor. It was unhappy, so it tried its best to find trouble with its companion, wanting to put it in its place. But it didn't expect that its companion was a tough nut to crack. The brat didn't want to find trouble, but instead kicked an iron plate and got itself into trouble. When Yuan saw Su Yiyin, it was especially guilty and moved left and right on the spot a few times, probing, "Master, did Yuan do something wrong?" Su Yiyin's heart immediately softened when she heard its soft baby voice. Besides, it really couldn't be blamed for this matter. "No, Yuan didn't do anything wrong. This is Dundon's fault. Master apologizes to you on behalf of Dundon." Roly-Poly's dark eyes lit up instantly, and he said cheerfully, "Master, you don't have to apologize to Roly-Poly. Roly-Poly didn't lose out. However, Master, can you not let it bite Yuan's little apron?" The little apron was given to it by Master. Yuan likes it very much and doesn't want it to be bitten. Su Yiyin was stunned. She finally understood why the good-tempered Roly-Poly would suddenly do such a thing to Dundon. "Okay, Master will teach it a lesson and not let it bite your little apron again." Woof! The autistic Dundon realized that not only did his master not come to comfort him, but he even went to talk nicely to his new lover who had caused him to become like this. Dundon's heart sank. Sure enough, after losing its fur, it had become yesterday's flower. It had been completely defeated by this new little fairy. "Why are you here?" After knowing the ins and outs of the matter, and confirming that Dundon was not injured other than a few shaved patches of fur on its body, Su Yiyin quickly turned her attention to Ling Xiaoqi. Ling Xiaoqi touched her nose and laughed. "I wanted to say that I didn't have anything to do this weekend, so I brought Hua over to see you guys. I didn't expect to see you the moment I came over." Ling Xiaoqi was in a fit of anger that day, and anxiously called Su Yiyin over to bring Dundon back. After calming down for a few days, she realized that she had lost control of her attitude that day, and wanted to bring Hua over to apologize to Su Yiyin. Chapter 385. Ling Xiaoqi was immediately frightened by Su Yiyin. "What's the problem?" The general manager of this group is the nephew of the boss. He is in his early 30s and has been married for a long time. He has 2 children, but he likes to cheat on women outside. I heard that several of his previous assistants resigned because they couldn't stand his sexual harassment. Ling Xiaoqi was shocked. "Really? Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you?" Su Yiyin said affirmatively, but a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. Ling Xiaoqi didn't notice this, but Hua Chenhuan, who had been silently accompanying Su Yiyin, saw it all and frowned slightly. Ling Xiaoqi had always trusted Su Yiyin. She had left City A for a period of time, and she didn't have the family background of Su Yiyin. It was not surprising that she didn't know these rumors. Then I'll go back and quit this job and find another one." Su Yiyin expected Ling Xiaoqi's reaction. Because of her mother's matter, she was most disgusted with this kind of scumbag who had a wife at home and a wife outside. Not to mention that this scumbag liked to cheat on women around him. "What are you looking for? Our company just changed a lot of people not long ago and kicked out a group of people. Now we are in a state of shortage. You didn't say that you were looking for a job before. Isn't it better to directly enter my company and be a department manager in charge of external business?" Ling Xiaoqi was stunned and whispered, "This is not good. You have just taken over the company, and you have already stuffed people into the company. What's not good about it?" Su Yiyin looked at his friend with a faint smile. Do you have any misunderstanding about my position in the company or about your own ability? Don't you have confidence in your own ability? Of course I have confidence in myself, but before Ling Xiaoqi could finish her words, she was interrupted by Su Yiyin. That's enough. I know your ability very well. It would be our company's loss if we let you go. It's settled then. I'll get HR to contact you later. Come work on time next week. Then, without giving Ling Xiaoqi a chance to refute, he directly pushed her out of the door. Ling Xiaoqi, who was standing at the door with Hua Hua in her arms, was dumbfounded. After sending off Ling Xiaoqi, Su Yiyin turned around and met his dog's aggrieved gaze. She recalled that when Ling Xiaoqi was about to leave just now, this guy repeated his old tricks and tried to cozy up to her, wanted to go home with her. Su Yiyin was so angry that she almost laughed. You just give up on running away with him. You did her daughter in front of him. It's already good enough that Xiaoqi didn't chop you into pieces. How can she lead a wolf into the house again? The more Dun Dun listened to her, the angrier he became. He moved his small body and turned back, facing her with his butt. Yo, you're still angry. Tell me, what did I tell you before I left? Don't bully Yuan Yuan. Don't bully Yuan Yuan. You two are going to live together, and you have to love each other. But I just left, and you went to harass her. I spoiled you too much, causing you to be so lawless at home now. Look at you, and then look at Yuan Yuan. Yuan Yuan can eat her fill just by basking in the sun. She can also help clean the house and do housework. She's obedient, sensible, and capable. Unlike you, who eats fragrant dog food and is carried around like a little emperor all day long. You're still so domineering and willful. Dun Dun. Master, are you implying that I eat a lot? Now that the little vixen entered the door, this baby won't even have a full meal in the future. Chapter 386. Su Yiyin didn't know that the dog only listened to one sentence after he said so much. He sighed and said, "This time, I'll take it as a lesson for you. You're not allowed to go out before your fur is fully grown. Stay at home and reflect on your mistakes." Dun Dun lay on the ground motionlessly, and even its ears drooped down. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen. I'll be a little cabbage that no one wants in the future. Oh. Su Yiyin squatted on the side and looked at it for a long time without any reaction. He then glanced at the protruding fur on its body, and his heart softened. He rubbed its head helplessly and didn't nag anymore. After instructing the servants at home to take good care of Dun Dun so that it wouldn't run away from home when they weren't paying attention, Su Yiyin finally heaved a sigh of relief. He turned his head and met his man's probing gaze. "What's wrong? Why didn't you want your friend to go to that company just now?" The expression on Su Yiyin's face stiffened slightly. "Didn't I say just now? That general manager's private life is messy, and I'm afraid that she will suffer. Moreover, I also want her to enter my company." "Really?" Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyin's eyes and said in a deep voice, "You don't have to say it if you don't want to, but don't lie to me." Su Yiyin pursed his lips and finally admitted defeat under Hua Chenhuan's gaze. "Okay. I admit that what I said just now was just an excuse. The real reason is because of Xiaoqi's father. Her father. This matter is Xiaoqi's family matter, but she shouldn't mind being known by others. Xiaoqi's biological father is a scumbag. When he was in college, he coaxed Xiaoqi's mother to be his girlfriend for a period of time, but in fact, he already had an engagement with another girl and was preparing to get married as soon as he graduated." Hua Chenhuan's eyes turned cold. This story sounded familiar, but since Su Yiyin had used the word cheat, it was likely that the subsequent events would be completely different from what Xiaofeng and the others. Xiaoqi's mother found out about this by chance. At that time, she was already pregnant with Xiaoqi. In a fit of anger, she cut off all contact with Xiaoqi's biological father and ran away with Xiaoqi. So, what you're saying is related to her father? Xiaoqi's biological father has some friendship with the chairman of Qi Yin Group that she just mentioned. I'm afraid that after she enters that company, she might meet someone she shouldn't meet and be pestered. It was also because she had been so busy recently that she had forgotten about this matter and almost caused Ling Xiaoqi to fall into the fire pit again. Actually, what I said to Xiaoqi just now isn't all fake. At least, that general manager isn't a good person. Su Yin also only found out about this matter after Ling Xiaoqi returned to her scumbag father's house. This general manager of Qi Yin Group was indeed a fickle scumbag who couldn't control his lower body. It was just that his father-in-law happened to be a director of that company. Although he liked to play, he didn't dare to let his father-in-law know about his disgraceful affairs outside. At least, he didn't dare to make a fuss about this matter in the company and make his father-in-law lose face. Therefore, before Ling Xiaoqi, he didn't make a move on the female employees in the company. But after Ling Xiaoqi became his assistant, this general manager didn't know whether it was because he saw that Ling Xiaoqi was beautiful or because he had hinted to Ling Xiaoqi several times. But Ling Xiaoqi was indifferent. Instead, it aroused his desire to conquer her. He actually brazenly asked Ling Xiaoqi for a hidden rule. He even tried to force himself on her after Ling Xiaoqi refused. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.